Bruins Now. I'm Courtney Cox, and the Bruins lost in overtime to the Blues on Wednesday night, but they really won because they are headed to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Their fountain of youth, Ryan DiBenedetto, spoke after the loss, as well as Bruce Cassidy.
Well, it's step one, right? That was going into the season. We wanted to make the playoffs, be a Stanley Cup contender. At some point, hopefully you're a Stanley Cup favorite. That's kind of where it goes from there. But right now we got in, so we're going to be a contender, right? So that's the good news. Now, going forward, we want to be in the best position possible, playing the best hockey going in. So I don't know what that'll be. We're going to be second, third, or first, in one of those spots, and whatever one we're in, we'll hopefully be healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal, right? So getting that playoff point is huge for us and being able to clinch that spot. But obviously, we would be a lot happier if we got the win as well.
Welcome on into the NESN Digital Studios. I'm joined now by our Bruins analyst, our NESN.com writer extraordinaire, Mike Cole. We got to break some things down. Let's start with Tuukka. Okay. Saturday's win made him 30 win for the season. No other Boston goalie has ever done that. How important is that? How impressive is that? And how important is he headed into the postseason?
Lot to unpack there. In terms of just the impressiveness, I think you just look at the longevity that Tuukka's had, and I think that's been the most impressive thing. They've paid this guy to be a top-of-the-line goaltender, and for the most part, he's delivered. I think he gets a lot of criticism from time to time because I think people look at the contract and they look at how much success that this team's had defensively in the past, and they look at, even still, I think to this day, at what Tim Thomas did and kind of compare him to that. But it's just, at that position, you're just looking for consistency more so than anything else. There are questions about whether he can kind of propel a team to a Stanley Cup run. In 2013, he was between the pipes when they went to the Cup final. Obviously, they couldn't get it done. So there's still that hurdle for him to clear, but that's a big hurdle for anybody. So I don't think he's as good as he was 2 or 3 years ago, but I think that the Bruins have done a good job of building a team around him where he doesn't have to be as good as he was 2 or 3 years ago. And the Bruins have proved in the last week or so that they can tighten up when they need to. That game in Tampa Bay was a perfect example. Tuukka didn't have to work that hard. He's still capable of making big saves when he has to. So in terms of what they're going to get from him moving forward, I think it's pretty much a lot of the same. At some point, they're going to have to ask him to steal a game in the playoffs. I think he's obviously still capable of that. So it's just more of the same from him, really.
All right, now going from Tuukka, a with, to the youngest of young, Ryan DiBenedetto. Kind of incredible. You get 3 points in your NHL opener ever playing with the big boys, if you will. Then notches another goal against St. Louis on Wednesday night. For you to watch him come out and perform like that, that's a lot of pressure for anybody. But for a young kid, how impressed are you?
Yeah, it is impressive. And I think the size difference is really one of the bigger things because he's not used to playing with guys this size. You look at the Wednesday night against St. Louis. St. Louis has an enormous team. They have some big dudes on that team. Guys, they stand at 6'3", 220, and he's not afraid to go to the net. I think that's something that's impressed me about him. Not afraid to go into the corners. The same things that we dinged guys like Ryan Spooner and Tyler Seguin. He's not afraid to do that. Obviously, the pedigree is good with his father playing in the NHL as well. So, overall, pretty impressive start, obviously. I think Wednesday night against St. Louis, you kind of saw, the goal was great, and he was in the, right spot at the right time with a weird play off with the puck bouncing off the referee. But he buried it, so credit to him for that. A few things here and there in terms of is he strong enough on the puck and in the offensive zone? Sometimes he's not, but that's going to come. Again, he's still a young guy, smaller than a lot of the other guys he's playing against. So that comes eventually. We wonder how good he is in his own end as well, but they're not asking this guy to be a two-way player, at least not right now. He's going to give them an offensive spark. If I'm somebody like Danton Heinen, I'm getting a little bit concerned because Jake DeBrusk is going to come back at some point, and Ryan DiBenedetto is already proving that he's an offensive force. So there's going to be some competition within the top 9 there that's, I think, healthy, and I think that's kind of the thing that you're looking for going into the playoffs. So definitely a shot in the arm from Ryan DiBenedetto. I think he's only scratching the surface of his potential. There's going to be some growing pains, especially as the games get tighter down the stretch and into the playoffs. But anything you get from him is gravy.
All right, well, we are excited because the black and gold are officially headed to the postseason. We will not end at the regular season. Everybody loves to see that in Boston. What do you need out of this Bees team to see them succeed and head to a Stanley Cup?
It's tough. It's tough to say. First of all, before anything else, they have to get healthy, and they're not going anywhere without Charlie McAvoy, without Zdeno Chara, and without Patrice Bergeron. Those are 3 most important defensive players, which brings me to my next point. They have to tighten up defensively. I mean, it's nice for them to win games 7-5, 8-6, whatever they've been doing. It's nice for them to win games in in overtime when it's 3-on-3, but again, down the stretch, into the playoffs, things are going to tighten up. It's going to become a more physical game. It's going to become a lower scoring game. They have to prove that they're able to win those sorts of games. They have to be able to prove that they can win 2-1, 3-2. I think they can, and again, a lot of that comes back to Rask, but they need to get healthy first and foremost and prove that they can win these tight scoring games.
Well, great stuff from Mike as always. You can follow along with him on Twitter at Mike Cole NESN. Thanks so much for stopping in for you. But guys, we talk about the postseason, but we've still got some games to go. So let's pull up the full screen and see who we've got on deck. The Bees hit the road to take on the Stars Friday night, then to Minnesota on Sunday. They've got Winnipeg on Tuesday and home Thursday, the 29th, to face off with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who lead the Atlantic Division. They're a little bit ahead of the Bruins right now, so that should be an interesting one to come. So we've already talked about him a decent amount in today's show, but Patrice Bergeron has a new teammate in Harvard's Ryan Donato, and Bergeron had a few things to say about the kid. I say kid because he played with Donato's dad, Ted, when he was a rookie.
Were you giving bad advice like his dad probably gave to you?
No, his dad was so nice to me from training camp on, so I felt pretty lucky to have great, veterans like I did, and trying to do the same thing to them. Just to be himself, play the game. I think he's had the experience at the Olympics in Pyeongchang. It's just that right there is a perfect example of what he needs to do is just go out there and play like he's been playing all year and his whole life basically, and just have fun and enjoy the moment. It doesn't happen twice, so just enjoy it.
Great stuff from Patrice there. Cool story. And how about this? Ryan meeting the captain, Chara. Look at the height difference. That's pretty incredible. From one kid to another. How about Pasta? He took some time pregame on Saturday to play rock, paper, scissors, shoot. As you can see, there's a decent amount of green in the background. It was St. Patrick's Day, so maybe getting some cute little leprechaun fans there. But he's gonna give a puck too. God, love Pasta. He's the best. Charlie McAvoy taking to Instagram to show him and his roomie, Anders. So they're sitting courtside at a Celtics game, and you can't see it there, but if you go on your little phone and check out Instagram, you can see that Jason Tatum liked the photo. Love all of that, and speaking of love, let's head to Canada, where Toronto's Matt Martin proposed to his girlfriend, BC grad, Sydney Esiason. She took to Instagram to post the proposal right here. And you can see just Jax, that's their dog Jax, being such a good boy. Oh, and this is cute. Coming up, he looks like he's gonna go back down on one knee. Like he needs to go on one knee to put it on her finger, and she says, no, don't do it. So very cute, very happy for them. Oh, picturesque. All right, let's keep things in Canada. Leafs players Morgan Rielly and Austin Matthews, they hung out with Russell Westbrook after a Thunder game in Toronto. Everyone having just a great time up in Canada. I need to pay it a visit. Looks very fun. And from Toronto to Calgary, is this the prettiest ice ever? Some Inferno players taking to the outside rink to show us some skills and treat us to the scenic views. I take it back. I want to go to Calgary, not Toronto. And for a glance at the social media scene around the rest of the sports world, here's Casey's Social Drive, presented by Nissan.
It's time for your Nissan Social Drive, brought to you by your local Nissan dealers. Don't expect David Ortiz to be the next follower of the TB12 method, at least when it comes to the diet portion. Poppy telling Barstool Sports, quote, I was born one day and I know I'm gonna die another, so I'm gonna enjoy life. You're gonna tell me my boy Brady, he's not suffering because of that diet? Suffering. Well, the diet consists of 3 bottles of water after every beer you drink, absolutely no fruit except banana, and 0 caffeine or sugar. I'm already with Poppy, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Bad luck for the Bull there, ditto to Sports Illustrated. For the 3rd time in 6 years, SI has picked the Nationals to win the World Series. The prediction this year, Nats over Yankees. Fourth time's the charm? That's the question. I'm going to go with no. That's probably going to be the answer, and that is your Social Drive.
Social Drive is presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
The Nissan Rogue has everything I need to take on today. Intelligent all-wheel drive when I need to follow the story or create my own path. Style, smarts, and storage. In the Nissan Rogue, I'm not just along for the ride, I'm driving. Shop the Rogue at your local Nissan store and choose Nissan.com. Innovation that excites.
And watch me, Casey McDonald, with your Nissan Social Drive nightly on NESN Sports Today.
That will do it for this week's episode of Bruins Now. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you next week, same time, same place.